When my grandfather died, he didn't leave behind a mansion. He didn't leave millions in the bank. But at his funeral I heard something strange. Grown men were whispering. He figured it out. Not about life, about money. And as a child, I didn't understand what that meant. Years later, when I was broke, stressed, and drowning in bills, I finally discovered what they were talking about. My grandfather had a secret formula to financial freedom, and it wasn't what you think. He was not a businessman. He never traded stocks on a fancy app. He never posted about side hustles. He worked a simple job, woke up early, came home tired, but he retired peacefully. No debt, no fear, no panic about medical bills. And somehow he helped 3 generations stand on their feet. One evening when I was young, I asked him, "Dada, how do you become rich?" He laughed and said, "You don't become rich by chasing money. You become rich by controlling yourself." At that time, I thought that was boring advice. I wanted shortcuts. I wanted big opportunities. I wanted fast money. But life humbled me. I remember my early 20s, first salary. I felt powerful. I upgraded my phone, bought expensive clothes, ate out every weekend. I thought, I deserved this. By the 20th of every month, I was broke, and by the 25th, I was borrowing. That cycle repeated for years. More income, more expenses, no peace. One day I visited my grandfather's old house. I found his notebook, just a simple diary. Inside it, he had written numbers, not poems, not stories, numbers, monthly income, expenses, savings, investments. Every single rupee had a job. That was the first piece of his formula. Respect money before you expect it to respect you. Most people want financial freedom, but they don't even know where their money goes. They say they want to invest, but they cannot control spending. They say they want wealth, but they fear looking at their bank account. My grandfather tracked everything, not because he was poor, but because he was serious. He used to say, "Money is like a worker. If you don't assign it a task, it will disappear." Look at your own life. How much did you spend last month on things that don't matter today? Subscriptions you forgot, food you didn't need, clothes you barely wear. Small leaks sink big ships. The second part of his formula was simple, but powerful. Always pay yourself first, before bills, before shopping, before anything. He saved first. He saved 20% of whatever he earned, sometimes more, sometimes less, but he saved before spending. That one habit changed everything. Most people save what is left after spending. That means they save nothing. Imagine 2 friends earning the same salary. One spends first, saves later. The other saves first, spends what remains. After 10 years, their lives look completely different. One is stressed, the other is calm. The difference is not income, it is discipline. But saving alone is not freedom. Money under a mattress does not grow. And this is where the third piece of his formula comes in. Make money work harder than you do. He didn't use complicated words. He simply invested. When I finally studied his notebook properly, I saw small investments made consistently. Land bought when people were afraid. Small business partnerships. Later, simple stock investments. Nothing dramatic, nothing risky. Just consistent. He believed in ownership. He would say, if you don't own assets, you will always work for someone who does. Let that sink in. Employees trade time for money. Owners build assets that generate money even when they sleep. Now, I am not saying quit your job tomorrow. My grandfather didn't. He used his job as fuel. Income was not the goal. Income was the tool. He used that tool to buy assets, assets that paid him, slowly at first, then steadily. This is where most people fail. They want quick returns. They panic when markets drop. They chase trends, crypto today, something else tomorrow. They move with emotion. My grandfather moved with patience. He understood something powerful. Compounding is boring in the beginning and magical in the end. In year 1, growth looks small. In year 2, still small. But in year 10, it explodes. Think of planting a tree. The first few years, it barely grows. You might even doubt it. But underground, roots are spreading. One day it becomes strong enough to give shade and fruit for decades. Investing is the same. And here comes the fourth piece of his formula. Avoid debt that steals your future. He hated bad debt. If something did not increase his income or value, he avoided borrowing for it. Today, people finance everything. Phones, cars, vacations, weddings. They borrow for lifestyle. And then they work for years to pay for memories that lasted a week. My grandfather would say, if you borrow for pleasure, you will pay with pressure. Good debt can exist. Debt that buys an asset. Debt that increases earning power. But emotional debt, that is a trap. I learned this the hard way. I once bought a car I couldn't afford. EMI every month. Insurance, maintenance, fuel. Suddenly, my freedom reduced. I couldn't quit a job I hated because I had payments waiting. That car didn't give me status. It gave me stress. Freedom is not about looking rich. It is about having choices. And that is what financial freedom truly means. The power to say no. The power to walk away. The power to rest without fear. The fifth piece of his formula was mindset. He never called himself poor. Even when money was tight, he would say, we are building. There is a difference between being broke and being poor. Broke is temporary. Poor is a mindset. If you believe money is evil, you will push it away. If you believe rich people are bad, you will never allow yourself to become one. He respected wealth, not for luxury, but for security and impact. With money, he educated his children, helped relatives, supported community projects. Quietly, no social media, no applause. Money is power, and power in the right hands creates good. Another powerful lesson he taught me was delayed gratification. When his friends upgraded houses, he stayed patient. When others bought flashy items, he waited, not because he couldn't afford them, but because he valued freedom more than validation. Ask yourself honestly, how many purchases are about impressing people who don't care? True wealth is silent. You won't always see it. The richest person in the room might be dressed the simplest. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable, comparison. Comparison is the fastest way to destroy financial peace. Social media shows highlights. New cars, vacations, luxury watches. You don't see the loans, the stress, the sleepless nights. My grandfather compared only one thing, who he was yesterday versus who he is today. Did his savings grow? Did his investments grow? Did his knowledge grow? That was his competition. He invested in education too. Not degrees, knowledge. He read about markets, about business, about history, because he knew money flows in cycles. What goes up can go down, and what goes down can rise again. Financial freedom is not a destination you reach once. It is a system you maintain. Even after he retired, he reviewed his finances monthly, not out of fear, out of responsibility. Now here is something that changed my life completely. I once asked him, "When will I know I am financially free?" He said, "When your passive income pays for your basic life, not your luxury, your basics, food, shelter, utilities, essentials. If your investments can cover that, you are free. You may still work, but you work because you want to, not because you have to." That is a powerful shift. Imagine waking up knowing that even if you take a break, your life continues peacefully. No panic, no desperation. That peace is worth more than any branded item. And here's the truth nobody likes to hear. It takes time. My grandfather didn't build freedom in 1 year. It took decades, consistency, patience, faith. But once built, it protected the family for generations. We live in a world addicted to speed, fast money, fast fame, fast success. But slow wealth is strong wealth. If you are young, you have an advantage bigger than money: time. Time is the most powerful investment tool in the world. Start small. Start messy. But start. Even if you can invest a small amount every month, do it. Even if you can save only 5%, do it. Build the habit first. Increase the amount later. Habits create destiny. And if you feel behind in life, listen carefully. My grandfather started serious investing in his late 30s. Before that, he made mistakes too. Lost money. Trusted wrong people. Faced business losses, but he didn't quit. He learned. Failure is expensive only if you refuse to learn from it. You don't need a perfect plan, you need a consistent plan. So here is the grandfather's secret formula. In simple words: control yourself, track your money, save first, invest consistently, avoid bad debt, think long term, protect your mindset. Be patient. Simple? Yes. Easy? No. But powerful? Absolutely. Financial freedom is not about becoming a billionaire. It is about removing fear from your life. When fear of money disappears, confidence rises. When confidence rises, opportunities increase. When opportunities increase, wealth follows. The real secret was never hidden in complicated strategies. It was hidden in character. Discipline over desire. Patience over pressure. Ownership over consumption. Long term over short term. And today, as you listen to this, maybe you are struggling. Maybe your bank account is low. Maybe you feel stuck. But remember this: wealth is built quietly, decision by decision, month by month, year by year. Start today, not next year, not when salary increases, not when conditions improve. Start with awareness. Open your bank statement. Face the truth. No excuses. Then create a simple plan. Decide your saving percentage. Choose assets to invest in. Automate your investments if possible. Reduce unnecessary expenses. Increase your skills to increase income. And repeat. Repeat when it's boring. Repeat when it's slow. Repeat when nobody notices. Because one day people will look at your life and say, "He figured it out." And maybe they will think you were lucky. But you will know the truth. You followed the formula. The grandfather's secret formula. And here's the final thing he told me before he passed away. Money is not the goal. Freedom is. Don't chase money blindly. Build systems that create freedom. Build assets that protect your family. Build habits that strengthen your future. And one day you won't be working for survival. You will be working by choice. That is financial freedom. That is power. That is peace. And it starts with one disciplined decision today.